Hi, my name is Rafael Galliano. Welcome to the Park Winners Flower Farm. Today I'm going to be showing you how to pick your own bouquet, and I'm going to arrange the flowers that I pick at the flower field and then share that with you. And a little bit of background on us here at Park Winners is that we've been here for 15 years and have celebrated lots of events and celebrations. And this part of the farm at Park Winners, is a flower farm that is open to the public, and you can actually visit us on Saturdays and Sundays and pick your own bouquet. I get a lot of joy from sharing the flower picking experience with people because it's so heartfelt, and so many people from all walks of life come here and pick flowers and they leave totally fulfilled. So it's my joy to share this with you. And a little bit of background on how it all started for me was when I used to visit my friend Mary in the mountains of North Carolina. About an hour before I arrived at her house, I would start picking wildflowers in the medians and off the side of the road. And when I would arrive at her house, they were all wilted. I would put them in a bucket and then let them get perky. And then just before dinner, I started weaving and making these beautiful bouquets with all the different vases that she had through her house. And that's truly how I got hooked on it. And because I have derived the feeling of picking my own bouquet and knowing that that is so fulfilling and rewarding, I share that with friends all the time, and it's turned into a business where you can come here and pick your own bouquet. So those of you who come here, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna show everybody else what to expect, how it flows, and hopefully you can come and visit us sometime and partake in this magical experience. This is our flower barn. It was originally the horse and carriage barn when this house was built in 1865. And when we built our event barn, we cut this building into 3 pieces and moved it here. And that started our ethos, an overarching theme for the farm, which is recycle, repurpose, reuse. And so when people walk in here, they gasp, and you hear all kinds of ahs and oohs because this is such a cute room. And so we use it mainly as our flower drying barn, but you also get to come in here after you've picked your flowers, and you can arrange your own arrangements and zen out, enjoy it, and I'm excited to share this experience with you today. So when you arrive, we greet you and we hand you a bucket and clippers, and then we'll take you through a quick process of just giving you some tips that I'm gonna share with you now, just so that you have the best experience possible. My personal tip to everyone is that when you're foraging your flowers, that you pick the longest pieces possible, because you can always cut them shorter, but you can't make them longer. So this way, once you're back at your table and you're zenning out, putting in your flowers, you have the choice of going small, medium, and large, and you can decide that. But when you're picking, get yourself the longest pieces possible so you have content to work with. The next thing that I've learned from other florists is that all your stems, that you destem them about the bottom 10 inches, so that when you're filling your bucket, there's only stems and not a bunch of greenery eating the real estate and the amount that you can put in here. So you'll have a lot more flowers in your bucket if you just have stems here and then they spill over. The next thing is, when you're getting ready to arrange them, that you cut them all at a 45-degree angle. And this way, when you're putting them in, you have more control. And then if you hit a bottleneck, the pointed end of the stem will follow through those stems, and you'll be able to have an arrangement that is in your liking. And the next thing I'll tell you is that in arranging flowers and potted plants, there's a theory called thriller, filler, and spiller. So I'll show you what the potential spillers are. And some of the spillers that we have now in the early spring won't be available in the summer, and they're really fun to work with. I'll be excited to share those with you. And then for the filler, it's the body of what you have in your arrangement. And then the thrillers are what I call jewels, little jewels of pods or flowers that you put in there. So you're gonna have thriller, filler, and spiller, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. And make sure that when you're here, if you happen to spill your water, that you immediately refill it, because your flowers will stay perkier, you'll have a better experience, and they'll last longer. So come with me, let's get started. This is gonna be fun. So I would encourage you to walk around and see what are the available flowers and leaves that you can work with. So this way you have a full knowledge of what palette and color way you're going to work with, and then you can come back and start, because this way, you know, you're totally empowered, you know what's around. And also think about your flowers and your leaves as the paint for your painting. And this is just all material, different colors, and it's going to be really fun. This here is fringed Dusty Miller, and we also have it in the wide leaf. The beautiful thing about Dusty Miller and a lot of our flowers is that they lend themselves to drying, and even after you've enjoyed them fresh, you can hang them upside down and they will be preserved for many years. And Dusty Miller is one of those. Our Dusty Miller is actually going to bloom now, where it has this ashy olive color, and then there's some nice little yellow flowers popping up out of it. The other one is the wide leaf, and it doesn't bloom, but it's very interesting depending on the color scheme. I haven't quite decided yet what I'm gonna go with. So I'm just gonna walk around and see what do we have right now, and then I'm gonna decide what we're gonna work with. So let's take a look around some more. This is smoky fennel, and it's so cool and unusual. It has some tones of olive green, but then it has the smoky leaves that are so interesting to me, because it is a seasonal flower farm, and because smoky fennel only does its thing this time of year, I'm gonna use it as much as I can in my arrangements, because I can't get enough of it. And when you smell it, then you're gonna really love it even more. So I'm just gonna start with this as my base, and I'm gonna use it as a semi-filler, but it's also gonna be my filler, because I'm gonna use a lot of it as the base, and then I'm gonna put some other things on top of it. So let's start collecting some. Again, I suggest that you pick the longest fronds possible so that you have plenty to work with, and then so that your flowers spill out. I use the other pieces as like a measuring device, because once I decide on the length that I want them, I just take one stem and then I just start pulling them. It also reminds me of the season. So here I am, early spring, and there's also this really beautiful ladybug just there reminding me that it's going to be a great day. I'm going to pick one or two more, because I want it to be very full, and then I'm going to move on. Some people will arrange their flowers as they go. What I'm going to do today, because it's a little windy, is I'm going to use this as a gathering situation where I'm going to bring them all in to the flower farm and arrange them there, because I don't want to fight this wind and having to balance it. So I'm going to just use my vessel to collect, and then in a minute I'm going to arrange them. When I talk about jewels, I think about the Mobium, also winged everlasting. These little flowers are so dainty and beautiful, and they make me smile, because when they blow in the wind, you can almost use them as a weather vane. You can tell if the wind is coming from the north or the south. And also these little flowers, they're kind of like stars. Look at how amazing that is. Isn't that nice? And they are in the straw flower family, so they're kind of dryish, and they also last for many years. So these will last you a while. And because a lot goes a long way with these, I'm just going to get a few, because I have other flowers in mind to incorporate in today's arrangement. I prefer the ones that are all white like this, that haven't opened. They're like stars. And what I mean is that some of them, once they go to yellow like this, I don't love them as much. I like them when they're like all white. Look at this beautiful Nigella. It's also called Love in a Mist. And every time I pick them, I think about a friend that she introduced me to this flower years ago. That's one of the beautiful things about your garden, is that it reminds you of people and experiences. The magic inside this flower. This is like a crown, and then it's going to turn into a pod. So it's beautiful as a flower, but also the dry pods of the Nigella make it even more special. And I can see why they call it Love in a Mist, because the detail of this flower is sensational, and it mesmerizes you. there's almost like a whole world inside of every one of these flowers. So here we have some bachelor buttons, and look at that. They have this beautiful pop of blue. There's a whole beautiful tonality to that. So I'm going to use some of those. They're going to pop off of each other. Isn't that nice? So these love in a mist flowers, these periwinkle ones, this is what their pod looks like. Isn't that awesome? It almost looks like a candy cane. And definitely when I talk about jewels, in my mind, this is what I'm talking about. This here is wide leaf Dusty Miller, and I think they call it Dusty Miller because the leaves look dusty. But I like working with the wide one more than the fringed one. It's just a matter of preference. We all have different preferences, but just remember to get yourself some nice big pieces so that you have stuff to work with. And then this is going to make a nice contrast when we lay it over the smoky fennel. So with these, a little goes a long way, and I've got plenty here. And this is also one of those plants that lend themselves to drying. Most of our plants will dry nicely. I know that the smoky fennel won't, but we're going to get to enjoy it fresh today. So I think I'm done. I'm ready. I've got all the material I need. So let's go in the flower barn and make it happen. All right, look at this. So this is what we have to work with. And now the next step is processing all your flower stems. And what I mean by that is destemming every one of them so that I'm ready to work with them and have them where there's an easy flow. I'm going to destem them about 8 to 10 inches from the bottom, and I'm going to cut all of them at a 45-degree angle so that I have something to work with. That'll make the process so much easier. I always tell people to work with the flowers, just own it. Connect with your inner flower is my only unsolicited advice to you. We all have that inner creative, and there's a moment where it's going to hit. Oftentimes in my wreath making classes and other classes, there's people who walk in and they say, I'm not creative, I have a corporate job and I'm a this or that. 99% of the time, those people are the ones that walk out with the most beautiful arrangements. And so what I say is suspend judgment, come in here with an open heart, connect with your inner flower, which is your inner creative, and let it flow. There are times when you're in the process and you're maybe like a third or halfway through it and you might think it's tragic. And if you ask me if it truly is tragic, I'll say it's tragic. You should start over, pull it. But 9 out of 10 times, I usually say, keep working through it and you go past your comfort zone, because in all of my arrangements, there is an uncomfortable moment that we all go through because you start to question yourself and ask, is this something fabulous? Do I hate it? Should I start over? And all of these judgy thoughts start going through your mind. But just treat the plants like you own them, own the moment, own the creativity. So I'm going to continue to deconstruct these. Look how beautiful these smoky fennels are up against the lighter flowers. They certainly smell amazing. I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the bigger stuff first, because if you try to put the bigger stems in after you have the delicate flowers in, you're going to thrash them. So usually I would start with all my spillers first and then keep going. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to treat this Dusty Miller as if it was sort of like a crown. And then I'm going to use some of these Dusty Miller and the cardoon leaves. See, they're almost the same tonality, but you can't register as a smoky fennel unless you have something white in front of it, because if it was all dark colors, you wouldn't have the contrast. So contrast is something that will help you. And the great thing is that there is no rhyme or reason. There is no right or wrong. Every weekend, there are people who make things that I could have never even imagined. And so many things that I witness, I didn't have these ideas, but then people come in and do all sorts of fun things with it. Look how sweet these are. I picked these smaller flowers because they mirror the size of the container I'm working with. If I was working with a big giant vase, I definitely would bring in those big fronds, but I'm just showing you what you can make with the container that we give you. Some of you might already be thinking, oh gosh, that is tragic, look what he's doing. Have some patience and mercy with me, because I have some ideas of how I'm gonna pull this together, and already I'm asking myself, do I hate this? Is this the wrong way to go? But I'm not going to mess with myself too much. I'm just going to flow with what I thought we were gonna do. And so now every other one of these, because I'm treating these as spiller and for growth, every other one I'm gonna add some of this smoky fennel that kind of flows outward and gives it like an ethereal, fluffy feel. And I always say to guys that men who bring their wives or girlfriends, they score big, because when it's your idea and you bring your partner to come out here and have brunch and then pick flowers, and then you have an arrangement that lasts for 3 weeks, every time you look at it, you smile and you get reminded of this simple act of coming out to our flower farm. And so this is sort of like the gift that keeps on giving. It fulfills you, it brings you together, but it's also a really high score, because this is a very unique thing to do. So now here's what I have. I have this smoky fennel and it's spilling, and I'm making an arrangement that is 365. And so what you have to do is, when you're working with something that you're gonna see from different angles, you have to turn it every so often so that you don't have it like focused one way or the other. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some of these sweet peas as spiller. And today, you are right, I have 3 types of spillers in at once, because I'm using the smoky fennel as a spiller. These kind of have a spilling action, and then these guys here, they're gonna spill even more. And what's interesting is you get to bring home the tendrils that help this vine crawl up, and it's cool. Remember, when you are putting these in your vase and when you're cutting them, that you have to get the long pieces, because you have to have a part that goes into your vase so that it anchors it and it spills out. All right, so you can either put your flowers around above the smoky fennel, or you can go below. There's no rules. I've decided I want to go between and above. Just kind of use the smoky fennel as almost like a little choker, you know, and give it some interest. And look at the magic. That's one of the beautiful things right now, is right now there's sweet peas. Later in the season, there are no sweet peas. So give yourself the gift of making seasonal arrangements. I'm obsessed with these tendrils. And when you add these bigger pieces, it makes it wider. I describe it as it makes it more French. But I crack myself up saying all sorts of silly things, but I do think that adding some whimsy and some things that are truly happening in nature right now is a big part of it, because it fills your heart and it nourishes you. What do you think about this? Isn't this interesting? And the other thing too is, you'll see that you'll always remember, I kind of remember most of the arrangements that I've done, because it's a vibe. Here we have purple, these beautiful smelling sweet peas. And so I picked some other things that are going to dance with these colors, and it's going to make it more interesting. So I've got winged everlasting, I have bachelor buttons, and I'm going to process a few more flowers and just get it ready for this next wave. And then of course we have the pods of these magical nigella. So nigella, these are both the same thing. This is the flower, and then it immediately goes to this pod. And they're both interesting, and I call them both jewels. Okay, so now I have all the rest of them processed and ready for this next wave. I've got my wide leaf Dusty Miller, then I have this beautiful purple status, and then look at these gorgeous like light coral straw flowers. They're kind of crunchy and they have a great vibe to them. all of these flowers lend themselves to drying, all except these bachelor buttons. They'll dry, but not as much. And then you have the pods and the winged everlasting. And so what I think I'm gonna do is, because these are the base, is I'm gonna go ahead and tuck these in below, and then I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna go from the bottom up, and I'm gonna add these in the end. So now I have this, right? We have the smoky fennel spilling. We have these beautiful sweet peas spilling with their organic tendrils. And we have these big leaves from the cardoon plant. The winged everlasting are floating here. And now it's saying, okay, add some of this status, you know, in and around it. When you have contrast, you have a much more interesting arrangement. Look at this, isn't that nice? I'm just gonna add a few more pieces of this rose salmon-y straw flowers just to kind of give it a little more contrast. And then I'm gonna call it a day, it's done. Is this wonderful? We have nigella, we have sweet peas, straw flowers. These are called winged everlasting. You have bachelor buttons and you have status flower. You have some Dusty Miller, some leaves from the cardoons, and all this beautiful smoky fennel that's just spilling around the edges. So here you have it. This is a fresh seasonal bouquet that you come and make for yourself. And so my experience when I'm out there picking the flowers and then coming in here arranging it is a very calming experience, and I recommend it to everyone. And so hopefully you'll come and experience this magic of picking your own bouquet here at the Park Winners Flower Farm. Thanks for letting me share this magical moment with you, and I will always remember this, and I hope that everyone is having a great day or doing something creative in their garden.